what exactly transpired this morning?
Well, what happened? We were doing our thing. We just left an accident in the vicinity of the Chase Village flyover, heading back to Chaguanas. When we passed through the Orchard Gardens area, we realized that there was a large contingent of police officers at Sharon's house, and we realized that something was really going on there. So my cameraman and I stopped the vehicle. My cameraman stopped the vehicle. We both came out and started to record. Say, well, this is Ian Alleyne. I'm just in front of Sharon's house. As you can see, a large contingent of police officers. They are here. Well, upon entering, I realized that there was no caution tape or anything because I saw Inspector Alexander. I saw. But I was still going ahead with my thing. You know, I saw his cameraman, which is a civilian. I saw other people who I'm familiar with on the grounds walking to and fro. And from that moment, when I came up there, he just started to react, and I was like, "What is this?" And the rest is history. I'm sure you saw the video. And then he started to wring my hand, and then he placed me in a police vehicle, and he took my phone away from me, kept my phone for hours. I don't know what he did with the phone, and then subsequent to that, I was taken to Chaguanas police station. But Ria, what I'd like to bring to your attention is that something that was very, very disturbing. He said that uh, in fact, when he placed me in the vehicle, he indicated to other police officers no bail, and place him in a cell, or I'll call the commissioner. If I have to call the commissioner, place him in a cell because he is now a prisoner, and no bail for him. And he kept banging on the police vehicle, telling the police officers, leave now and take Mr. Alleyne to the police station and put him in a cell, no bail, or I'll call the commissioner of police. And well, they took me to Chaguanas police station and processed me and whatnot, and I was eventually placed in a cell. I mean, a filthy cell. And I know, and he had people there taping the entire thing. The entire thing, from the moment I walked in there, the entire thing, that video that you saw of me inside of the police station was taped by a policeman, by a corporal. The attorney, Judge Ramdin, he was also there and even asked the policeman why he was taping. But then again, it was, I mean, the entire ordeal. My hand is swollen, my head, just in the back, this area here. I had to seek medical attention at Mount Hope Medical, and even at Chaguanas health facility, because they realized that the injury, maybe I'll take a scan or something like that, and they referred me to Mount Hope, where I was escorted. I was a prisoner to Mount Hope Medical.
And what about the charges? What were you informed that the charges would be?
Well, Attorney Ramdin.
Well, they took a very long time to process everything. And like Mr. Alleyne said, there's some very strange things that transpired in this whole incident. When we were finally brought into the charge room, and they had all Data Lady's charges, and we were brought into the charge room, Mr. Alleyne sat down, Inspector Alexander sat there, and after reading the charges to Mr. Alleyne will confirm that Sergeant Alexander then looked at him and told him, I think I should put you back in the cell.
In the presence of my attorney, sir.
I think you like that
Yeah.
cell. So I think I should put you back in the cell. You want to go back in the cell?
Yeah.
And that is the kind of arrogance, right, that has been displayed throughout this entire day with everything that has transpired.
Isn't this a case of battering?
Well, it clearly was a key from, but when we were finally allowed to see Mr. Alleyne earlier today, from the time we were waiting in the corridor before they brought him out of the cell, I found it very strange that the officer who was in charge of the police station was taping everything on his phone
Everything from the moment.
from the time he was in the cell. So, well, it's the first time that I have seen that the police has taken that kind of action. Perhaps the commissioner should consider to allow the senior officers to tape confessions and interviews with other people. But this is the first time in 15 years that I have seen that the senior officer in charge of the station, from the time Mr. Alleyne was in the cell, it was like if he was conducting a show. And he taped Mr. Alleyne coming down the corridor when he was being searched. He even brought the phone that he was using into the interview room and wanted to tape the interview that we were having with him. And we had to stop it. As I said, enough is enough. I am going to see Mr. Alleyne. I am his attorney. And you have to come out of the room and allow me to have that time with him to advise him as to what the position is. And he didn't even want to do that, and was alleging that he doesn't want Mr. Alleyne to sit for me to speak to him. He wanted to put him in one corner of the room because he was suggesting that Mr. Alleyne could pass something to me and I could pass something to him. And that is the attitude that the police had. And it was a very intimidating one because while we were waiting in the police station, Inspector Alexander was up and down in the station, everywhere. He's the complainant in the matter, but I have never seen this type of action by any police officer as part of any investigation. And at the end of the day, the legality of all that transpired today will be tested in the court.
Mr. Ramney, do you think it was a deliberate attempt to humiliate Mr. Alleyne on the part of the officers and make a mockery of him?
Well, I think the video itself speaks volumes as to the attitude that Mr. Alexander had. And I think it raises some very serious questions that need to be answered now by persons in authority, starting from the Commissioner of Police come back. One has to answer the question, and it should finally be answered and made clear to the public. Inspector Alexander is a police officer that is bound by the police regulations, and someone has to answer now, who has given him permission to go every single day on TV6 and run beyond the tape? And one must answer who gave permission and what are the conditions, because it is clear from the incident that took place today that what has transpired is you have a police officer exercising police powers in the home of a private citizen, and one is not sure as to whether what the actions that he is taking, where the line is to be drawn between him being a police officer and him being the host of Beyond the Tape. Because you cannot be in someone's private premises conducting your business as the host of Beyond the Tape, doing your private business, and when it's convenient, you conveniently have one police uniform. I mean, somebody has to put a stop to this, because the video clearly shows Inspector Alexander was in police wear. Well, somebody should answer, is he attached to the Shogunas police station? What was he doing there in Shogunas? Is that the district he's attached to? Was he investigating a crime? Is he the complainant in the matter with Sharon? Let the police come clean now and let them say what he was doing there. And then they must come and answer now as to the actions that he took thereafter. So I think that it is very clear that this is an example of extreme abuse of police power, perhaps the most flagrant abuse of police power. And we will call upon the Commissioner of Police by tomorrow to investigate this matter. We expect that it will be a speedy investigation. We will lodge a complaint with the Police Complaints Authority. Mr. West has demonstrated an eagerness to exercise power since he's taken the post of chairman of the Police Complaints Authority. And this is a matter where I think it calls for a speedy investigation and let the chips fall where they may. This man is an inspector of police. One has to really wonder, how is the public going to have confidence in the police and the police commissioner and the high-ranking members of the police service call on the public every day, assist the police, give them information, come and help us, let us stop crime. They want to interact, community policing, and this is what you do to citizens? What example is Sergeant Alexander setting to the other officers in Shogunas and to the other officers in the police service?
You know, but I'll tell you something, and I just want to, I'll tell you this, and I agree with what Attorney Ramdin is saying. But what I noticed when I went there, in fact, it was brought to my attention that the operation was set by Shogunas Police Task Force and other officers to go to Sharon's home. Sergeant Alexander, if I could distinctly recall, and I think I have the footage, I'm not too sure, but he had a camera in his hand and he was there along with a cameraman. So he really did not go to execute no search warrant on Sharon's house, or he was part of the team that apprehended the suspect, Sharon. He came there in the capacity as a cameraman because he had a camera and he was safe, and he came with his cameraman. That's when I asked him, if you are putting me out from here, how come the set cameraman that he has here once worked for me, the set cameraman in police attire, police boots, police pants, once... Yeah, but he's in police attire, with police boots, with police pants, and he's right there. So I was like, how you can't... So wait, that guy Perron, he's a cameraman, so how you can put me out from the crime scene and keep Perron right there and other civilians, and that is where the arguments stem from. You understand? So he came there. He was never in the capacity. There's no police officer there. He came there along with his camera, just like myself, to cover a story. So which means to say, when you saw me, apparently you wanted to get an exclusive and throw me out and beat me up and assaulted me and then do your thing.
And this is why I ask if you think this is a ratings war that Alexander.
Exactly, this is a ratings war. This is a ratings war. I mean, we all know that. I mean, they're way down the ladder with respect to where crime watch is presently, and it's been like that for years. But nevertheless, it's a clear indication that this man, he has a personal vendetta against me. I mean, as they say, he's toting feelings. He is toting feelings because there's a part in this video that you all did not see. He came to and I was chatting with my employer. And he came, and then my employer overheard the conversation. And I kept shouting to my employer, look, he's grabbing. He started to wring my hand. Why do you think I had this? I had to take an extra in my hand. He started to wring my hand and take my phone away. And I'm like, Inspector Alexander, what is going on with you? Something is wrong for you to be acting like this. Why are you taking my phone? I am seated in a police vehicle and started to literally wring the phone out of my hand.
Do you think he should continue his show with that?
Pardon me? No, but there are a lot of concerns that I have, and I'll refer that to the attorney. That it's like, are you a policeman or are you an anchorman? You know, I mean, because you are there with so are you saying that you have a cameraman impersonating a police officer so he can go on any scene and whatnot? But I'll tell you this, this is the first time that we have met in years. I have not spoken to Inspector Alexander in years. We have never stood next to you. And this is the first time so that he got a chance. This is the closest he has ever reached to me in years. You understand? I mean, even when Attorney Jagdev came to visit me, I was expressing the same sentiment that this man is a crazy man.
Mr. Alleyne, were you aware that Dr. Rai Ragbe was prevented from seeing you in the police station after you complained of feeling unwell?
I heard so. Well, in fact, Dr. Ragbe came to Mount Up, and he did came there and examine me and whatnot.
And one final question for me. There's a concern that this incident between you and Inspector Alexander is distracting from the big issue, which is that a woman was abused.
No, let me just clear. Let me clear the area. That issue with respect to Sharon and his wife. You understand? In fact, the night before I met with Rachel, his wife, we had a long talk, and with respect to Sharon, I did chat with Sharon on Sunday and tell him, listen, me, go face the music. What you did was wrong, blah, blah, blah. So I was over that in fact, because we were just on a crime scene, and then all the people heading down to saw me on the highway at that after 9. So when we took the turn off, coming back to going back to Shogunas, then we saw all these people there, and we decided, but we were doing our normal thing, along with my cameraman looking for the story. You understand? We are here to cover just what Alexander was doing. He was there with a camera, with a cameraman. So you beat an anchor man and tape it and say, I am a police. Are you a police or an anchor man? Are you a presenter or a policeman? So that is what you did in order to get the bigger part of the story. That is what you had to do. So it's all, just as Rhonda said, it's a ratings war. They can't, I mean, it's hard for these people. It is hard for that network to accept the ratings, the figures. It's hard for them.